Hello everyone, welcome to Plane Crazy. We're going to take a break from whatever floats your boat for a while and just jump straight into this. I've recorded this several times and I have learned that I literally have no time to stall around. So without any further ado, this is going to be how to build any plane. Don't worry, I will do a Cirrus Vision tutorial at some point in time. So this is how to build any plane you want. And this is literally just going to be me basically explaining all the tips that you need to know for building any plane. Okay, so first things first, we need to figure out what plane we want to build. So I searched up how to build hang on, let me rephrase that. I searched up the blueprints for a Bonanza A36 because that's what I want to build. Now, if you search blueprints, you want to try and find something like this. Don't worry if you can't find this sheet. What you can type instead is type in 3 views, the number 3 space VIWS in your plane. So like, I don't know, let's say and we page HP42 because this was something I worked on. I'm going to just say blueprint. I'm going to go into images here. You're looking for a picture like this where you have the side, the top down, and then the front. So once you find your side, top, down, and front, it's the cherry on top if you get the internal where it shows you the seat position, but don't worry if you don't, and I'll explain why here in a minute. So anyways, we got this. What I'm going to be working on is I am going to be trying to figure out what this length is. So here's what I do know. These are chairs, right? Well, we have chairs in the game. So what we can do is we can use the fact that one chair is one block in game and use that as our scale factor for determining how big to build this thing. So we got 2 chairs, so naturally you'd think, oh, this is 2 blocks. Well, you have to remember, you see this propeller here and how it's splitting this. If we had this at 2 blocks, this propeller would be lined up with this seat, or it'd be lined up with this seat, and that would make it uneven and therefore not correct. So actually, this split between the seats here actually counts as one solid block. So what we're actually looking at here is we're looking at 1, 2, 3. But then you have to think to yourself, well, if this counts as one block, and this is about the same amount of space right here, well, then this also counts as a block on these sides, and you'd be correct. So it's actually not 2 blocks, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in width. So now we know that this spot here, from here to here, is actually 5 blocks. So we're going to go ahead and build that. My first tip to you is going to be, whenever we construct this, is that I highly recommend using half blocks. Why do I recommend using half blocks? Well, it's for a few reasons. One being that half blocks weigh less than a full block does. 2 is that because they're nice and trimmed up, unlike a full block, means that you're actually going to get more spacious looking interiors. And the third thing being that whenever you sculpt these things, they actually look way better using half blocks. So my biggest advice to you would be to really experiment with using the half blocks. It can also kind of save your butt with having to do compression. I'm not saying not to do compression because obviously compression looks really good, but if you're lazy like me and you'd rather just skip doing compression, I can't say I blame you. Use half blocks and it will allow you to limit the amount of compression you need to do. So here's a couple of things that I noticed right off the bat looking at this. You can see how this is curved right here. What we could do is one of 2 things, which I'm going to show you right now. First option we can do is we can take our half blocks and we can go into here and get one of these. And we can, get the full 5 blocks on either side. And then this is what I mean by making more spacious interior. We can next just go in here and place these guys up. And then as you can see, since we're not using a full block, you can see that it creates this artificial sense of space between the seats, which always looks nice, Or if we want to go more to accuracy, instead of focusing on getting that nice interior space, we can do this other little cheat here. So we're just going to go and place these back. We can take a half wedge here, and technically, as you can see, this counts as a full block, even though it to us, if we hover off, just looks like a little sliver. So what we actually have here is we actually make that 5-block constraint that we have for ourselves with this part right here. So we're actually sitting at 5 blocks, technically speaking. So now we can just go up with half blocks along the side here. We're just going to go up. Probably about 2 blocks should do it. Now we can start curving in. So I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to get half wedge again, and we're just going to place this here. And you'll notice that if we look real closely here, we've got, this looks a little bit smoother than this flat part on the bottom here, so we can round this off on top a little bit more. So we'll actually go in here. I'm going to use this half wedge from the wedges section. We'll just go in here, do this, get our half block right here, do that. I'm going to go ahead and to make this look even more spacious, I'm just going to alternate that with this block here, and now we got this nice rounded shape on top. And I'm going to say that, you know what, this looks like a good fuselage right here. So now we're just going to extend this and basically start building the frame. So how do we know how long to make this? We have the general shape now, but how do we make this however long? Well, here's the trick. You can either do like what I did with the seats, which basically we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we know that this is 6, or we can look at the windows here and use the windows as a guideline too. And I will be honest, you can see how this window sits in front of the chairs here. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see how there's a little bit of a difference, but you have to remember that this is a wedge here, so it's going to be curved. So it's anyone's guess how many blocks are here. This could either be represented as 1 or 2 because it's curving around. I know that might not make too much sense, but technically we're looking at multiple blocks stacked here to form this curve right here. So yeah, it's probably about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yeah, you see how this window sits a little bit further back than the seat? So we'll say it's probably about 7 blocks. Not that it really matters, but we'll just say it's probably about 7. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just extend this out. Something to note here that I want you guys to see right quick. So let me just go in here, get half beam, stick that right there. This is technically not connected. This point connected to a point right here that you can kind of see that to that. This technically doesn't count as a joint. So if I were to stick the seat back on here real quick, this is going to actually just completely fall off. Just something to keep in mind. So what you want to do to fix that is we'll just go ahead and delete that, delete this, and actually, you know what, I didn't even need to do that, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and take this block here, since I know that this block originally has that bottom half to it. Now we're just going to build the fuselage as normal here. Let me see here, we need half wedge, so we're just going to run this down the side a little bit. Actually, we don't really even need the beam. I can just fill that in with half blocks now that I think about it. There we go, and that looks much better. Yep, that lines up. Now we're just going to go ahead, rotate this into place, like so. Yep, just like that. So if I were to spawn in a seat now, it would actually hold together because of the fact that I stuck that part on there to basically hold the fuselage together now. So anyways, as I finish this up, I'll go ahead and show you guys how to build really nice compact doors. So anyways, you would extend this however long, and what I like to do to really help me with measuring these things is I take my glass material and I just alternate. And this kind of gives you a good idea of where the window placement should be and all of that. So let's get into doors now. I I guess I'll have to make a multi-part tutorial for this. I didn't think I needed to, but anyway. Let's go ahead and build some doors. So you'll see this area that I cut out here. I'm going to be sticking a motor right here. So let me go ahead and get that motor. Let me see here. Yes, so we want motor 2. Let me see. We're just going to rotate this into place. So now we have this in place. We next want to get our block. And I'm going to remove these 2 blocks because if anything connects to this pivot joint right here, it will stop it from moving. I know that wasn't a very good explanation, but I'll go ahead and just explain it by example here. So if we take this, you remember how I was saying that these joints here need to be connected solidly because edges technically don't count as a contact point? I formed these edges going right into this block here that I'm about to place down, so that way it doesn't count as a contact point but also looks solid from the top. You can't really tell from the inside. We'll go ahead and do that. Although technically you wouldn't do that. I'm just doing that for the sake of time. Obviously, you know, just because tutorial and all that good stuff. So we'll just pretend that that's not actually there, but you know, with more time I would go through and smooth this out. But you want to try and get your edges facing this. Now we're going to make this a pivot point, so we're going to go ahead and take our half block. And we're going to face it this direction right here because this is going to rotate and be flat. So we're going to get our next block. It looks like this is going to be a slanted spot, so we're just going to go ahead in here and we're going to get a half block. I'm thinking that it's going to be a wedge down probably. Nope, it looks like it's going to be a wedge up. So that is going to rotate down and be right here. Now we're going to need to get a half wedge for this next part here. Actually, we're going to get a half block, my bad. Half block, please. Ah, I see. Okay, so you see what's going on here. This extra space is preventing us from actually clipping it. So we're going to go ahead and get this block instead to fix that problem. So now we can attach our half wedge to this, like so. And now we can get our half blocks and stick them right on this like that. And now this should shut and this will look nice and solid. I also realize that these need to be changed out simply because of the fact that nothing is going to hold them in place. So we're going to go ahead and do that right quick. So there we go. And are these being held? That one is not, but that one is. I think, no, I can't actually tell. We'll just do that for now. Let me go ahead and attach the chair to this. Alright, so here's how you're going to program this thing. We'll just say that this is programmed to F. I usually always bind to a dead key. You do a servo, you do a toggle, you set your angle to 90. You don't need to mess with anything else. We'll go ahead and give it a test. There you go. See how it's nice and flat right there? That's what we want. If I hit F again, it's going to unfold. And boom, there you go. So basically that was your, I guess, fuselage tutorial. I'll have to come out with another one for the rest of the plane, but basically you get the idea. You kind of eyeball things, see where things should go, and then you just build accordingly to that. I hope that helped y'all out. I know it was fast-paced, but yeah, y'all have a good day.